Hola! Today I'm sitting behind a different shelf. We actually assembled this ourselves, so if it falls down on me, you know why. Anyways, when it comes to Korea, I'm more into the language and hip-hop and history and their movies. So manhwas weren't really a thing I paid a lot of attention to. And maybe the reason for that is because I like reading things in their original language, right? And my Korean is basically non-existent. The only manhwa I've read before that one is Killing Stalking. Funnily enough, the two of them share some similarities. I'm sure some of you already know what I mean. I came across this manhwa by a complete coincidence. Somebody animated some scenes of the manhwa on Instagram, and I was immediately fascinated by the art. Upon learning the name of this manhwa, I was intrigued, and so I decided to read it that very moment. When I googled it, some people were saying like it's not for the faint of heart and other such stuff, so I was like, hell yeah, and I started reading it. And before I tell you what happens, it's not as bad as people make it out to be, I think. If you enjoyed Killing Stalking, you'll have no troubles reading that one. And second, if you've never heard of either one of them, be warned. There's gonna be a lot of smut, sometimes without consent, and the like. With that out of the way, let's talk about Painter of the Night by ByeonDuck. The story is super simple. Yoon Seung-ho is the son of a wealthy family. He has a reputation for being a sodomite and for sleeping with different people every night, wherever and whenever he pleases. At the beginning of the story, he's looking for a painter who created books on erotic art depicting men. But apparently that painter stopped painting a while ago and is now living as a drunk. However, Seung-ho's men managed to find him. The painter turns out to be a young man by the name of Nakyom. Seung-ho forces Nakyom to be his personal painter and come live with him, which basically means Nakyom has to be in the same room while Seung-ho is getting it on with whoever. Nakyom repeatedly tells Seung-ho that he doesn't want to paint and he gave all of this up. We later learn that the reason for that is that Nakyom has a crush on his teacher and he despises things like that. And Seung-ho even tracks that teacher down. He even offers the teacher a position as a minister should he come live with him. Seung-ho uses that to threaten or blackmail, I should probably say, Nakyom. If he doesn't paint, then his teacher won't get the position, which would be a dream for the teacher, obviously. And so Nakyom actually starts painting. Seung-ho is fascinated by the paintings and soon by the painter himself. And from this point on, a weird relationship between the two starts to develop. Now, what do we think? As I mentioned a second ago, the story is simple, and yet it isn't. By the way, I don't know which historical period this is set in. Some believe it's the Joseon period, but that lasts like 500 years or so. I really can't say. Anyways, the historical setting is great in my opinion, but is the story really shallow and just an excuse to draw some smut? And there is smut. Like, a lot. But I don't mind since it's an essential part of one of the main characters. In my eyes, the fact that Nakyom is a painter makes the story a tad more interesting. Everyone here has probably felt some deep movement within when confronted with certain pieces of art. Whether it's music, a poem, or a painting, whatever. Being almost obsessed with something like that is relatable. It's also no secret that people develop romantic or sexual feelings towards the people who move them so. Think fangirls and fanboys, for example. It's only logical to feel such a thing for a person who managed to touch the innermost part of our soul, and that in such a beautiful way. In this case, it's about erotic paintings, and whether you like them or not doesn't really matter. All we have to understand is that Seung-ho loves them. It is completely logical for him to develop an interest for Nakyom, who is the complete opposite of this lust-driven libertine, and yet succeeds in portraying this very part of Seung-ho's soul. So from this, we can conclude that that's quite romantic, right? Like in the classic soulmate kind of sense. And the fact that Seung-ho is from the upper class and Nakyom from the lower class, it's kind of Romeo and Juliet in the sense that it's an impossible love or forbidden love, right? So that's what I mean by like classic romance, except for the fact that Sumo is an abuser, but what else is new in BL? Obviously, their dynamic reminds us of Killing Stalking, although Sumo doesn't seem to be as sadistic and he doesn't seem to enjoy hurting others that much, you know what I mean? And the story isn't finished yet, so we don't know still how it's going to develop. And now on to the real reason why I probably love this. The fucking art. Oh my god. The author really knows their anatomy. No yaoi hands here. It is such a treat for the eyes. The expressions are just... I've been staring at some of the illustrations for way longer than I should have. Especially the faces. The characters' feelings are portrayed so very well. One look at the expression on their faces and you know who they are and what they're thinking in that moment. The colors are also fantastic. They're what first captured my eye. Warm tones are used for the faces. It looks so good. Especially when contrasted with the less saturated and cooler tones in the background. Although I have to say, the backgrounds in Manhwa are kinda... they always look off. Like they don't fit in with the rest of the style and it kinda bothers me. What do you think? Anyways, looking at only the characters, I was like, this is art. And so this series hasn't been going on for a long time. So what do you guys think about it? I think I haven't even read the whole season 1, I think. Or no, I think, actually no. I read the first season only so far, I think, yeah. I probably won't make it a pattern to talk about manhwa on this channel, but I figured, you know, once in a while, why not? So if you do want to recommend some manhwas, please do so. And I'm also currently working on a few videos that require some more time and effort, so wish me luck. Because I really hope those videos are gonna turn out as interesting as I imagine them to be. But until then, thanks for watching.